world is at a critical point in 2012.
Today's global issues are too large, too complex, and too interrelated to be solved by governments alone.
Business leaders can play an important role in rebuilding trust and confidence in the global economy.
Through the B20, they have been working closely with governments and other stakeholders
to address 7 of the most pressing global challenges.
1. Food security. Ensure food and nutrition for the worldwide population.
2. Green growth. Stimulate investments in green technology and infrastructure.
3. Employment. Foster a stable increase in the number of jobs available by growing the number of SMEs and providing the youth with the tools to seize their potential.
4. Improving transparency. Pressure government leaders to design and implement legal and institutional frameworks to fight corruption.
5. Trade and investment. Promote multilateral cross-border trade and investment liberalization solutions.
6. Financing for growth and development. Create economic opportunities by improving access to credit and banking services for individuals and SMEs.
7. ICT and innovation. Improve living standards by spreading innovation and communication technologies.
For the first time, an advocacy and impact group will be in charge of ensuring continuity and promoting the implementation of concrete actions in line with the B20 recommendations.
Los Cabos is the 4th city to host the B20 summit, after Toronto, Seoul, and Cannes.
Each successive B20 has played an increasingly meaningful role in the G20 process.
Mexico has made an unparalleled commitment to one of the most important global business forums.
Over 150 business leaders and experts from more than 25 different countries worked closely together over the last 6 months to develop practical solutions to critical global challenges.
And over 400 business leaders came to Los Cabos to discuss and present these solutions to global government leaders.
Welcome to the Business 20 Summit in Los Cabos, Mexico.
Quiero darle la bienvenida a los representantes de las empresas globales, las más importantes del mundo y de México, desde luego, a los dirigentes de organismos del sector privado, a todos los emprendedores y académicos que nos acompañan.
The B20 is a result of true global collaboration. Over 150 CEOs of major global corporations, leaders of 18 business chambers, and international experts from more than 25 countries work closely together to develop practical solutions to critical global challenges.
The opportunities for the world will depend on the dynamism that comes from the countries that are not in recession. And many of them are your customers at the World Bank.
We can't just focus on the macroeconomic aspect, but we have to focus on the microeconomic and structural, which is true in Spain and Italy too. And here, I think, when I looked at the B20 recommendations, there were some very good pushes there on things like trade policy.
The question is, how do we use the institutions we have created over the years to service the Europeans, not necessarily the other way around?
And our job is clearly to help those countries get back on their feet, return to the market, and be able to finance themselves without support.
The emerging economies have done reasonably well in recent years. In the case of Indonesia, our goal is to become among the top 10 largest economies in the world in the coming decades. I invite you to join Indonesia as our partners in this promising journey. I thank you.
Green growth cannot be overshadowed by the economic crisis. It is a crucial strategy for the future competitiveness of each country.
Because I like the green issues, but I believe in trade as well. Trade is the only way in which we can generate jobs.
Each of us is here because we believe that greening the economy and growing the economy do go hand in hand. Greening the economy is all about creating the greatest possible economic results while using the fewest possible resources.
It's important that we come together in meetings like this and we ask hard questions about plans to spread and sustain growth, to create jobs, to avoid the mistakes of the past. Everyone has to support reforms to drive growth. Everyone who does will benefit from such reforms. That is the lesson of Australia's way. Thank you very much.
2% of the US economy is invested in venture capital. It's 11% of US jobs and 21% of US economic output. You want to fix jobs, you want to fix economic crises, you do it with startups. The only thing that generates jobs is technology startups.
The business of the world is business. Governments are the referees. You people have the capacity to start creating wealth among those 4 billion people in a mutually beneficial way. You have the power to create the next generation of innovators that's going to make the world a better place. I don't want to think about the alternatives.
The role of the entrepreneur is to do through his activity, and to be successful over time, you have to create value for society in everything you do.
Trade protectionism is on the rise. I think no less than 126 new protectionist measures were implemented by the G20 countries.
None of these proposals will happen if they don't engage more in cooperating together. Please understand that you have to restart moving forward.
If 2/3 of your growth are coming from something called emerging markets and they're not being impacted, then the priorities have got to be focused on those agenda items that are all about growth.
And you know, over the last few years, there's been around the world a challenging of the role of business.
And to have a strong markets, what the countries need to do is to have more people coming into their markets and being able to be participating of the economy for everyone.
CEOs are normal people. We care about our families, we care about our teams in the company, we care about our countries, and we care about issues that everybody cares about.
If you talk about how you've actually intertwined work with business and giving back to community, you're going to be one of those companies that those great talents are going to say, I want to work there.
We organize on Facebook, we communicate on Twitter, we show the world what we do on YouTube. They always had corruption, they always had volatile food prices, they always had a high youth unemployment. If they can bring down a regime in Egypt in 17 days, they can bring down an irresponsible company in nanoseconds.
어떤 경우든 중요한 것은 근본적 구조조정을 통한 성장 동력의 회복이라고 생각합니다. 위기 국가들은 당장은 고통스럽고 정치적으로 인기가 없을 수 있지만은 구조 계획을 단호히 추진해 나가야 한다고 생각합니다. 1997년 아시아 금융위기 당시에 한국 또한 대규모 기업 도산과 대량 실업 사태를 겪었지만
But the one thing that we learned in Latin America was that over a period of 25 years, we had over 31 financial crises. So it is in this part of the world that we know that there can be light at the end of the tunnel.
I think Latin America was able to learn from its mistakes. If you look at what happened during the recent crisis, not a single Latin American country suffered a major financial dislocation.
As much as we would like people to do things on a sort of charitable basis, if you actually want people to be included in the financial sector on a sustainable, scalable way, it has got to be something that economically makes sense.
To reduce the cost of cash. The cost of cash has a tremendous impact for the economy, and that's what we need to, together with government, to reduce. And in this sense, Banco de Mexico has made a very important, has had a lot of leadership in helping the industry to move to electronic payments.
Very often you find that you have government-sponsored programs where they provide capped interest rates, and then you got the microfinance industry, and it becomes a political issue between these two. Is it a fair pricing or not?
we are absolutely focused, as well as dealing with the deficit, on doing everything we can to support enterprise and make Britain one of the best places in the world in which to start and grow a business. We've cut business taxes. We've created one of the most competitive corporate tax regimes in the developed world. Thank you very much indeed for such a warm welcome, and thank you for your questions.
La parte de su currículum que nos llama más la atención a su pasado como empresario, el hecho que ha tenido pues una carrera sumamente exitosa tanto en el sector privado como en el sector público.
Hay muchas diferencias entre el mundo privado y el mundo público. Y por eso es tan importante que la interacción entre el sector privado y el sector público sea permanente, profunda, vital, comprometida.
Results are all that matters. The business community is all about results in every single thing that we do, and this should be no different. We need to stay committed and work with the broader business community and with the governments to push our agenda beyond Cabos. So what can we expect in October? National performance dashboards like this one for Mexico, monitoring the progress of the 16 measurable CAN recommendations. The dashboard is not intended to be an obstacle, rather an awareness and follow-up mechanism. And in the November meeting and before the end of the Mexican B20 presidency, we will develop a global performance dashboard based on the national dashboards that will look like the one shown above. So let's stay focused and achieve relevance through implementation and impact. Thank you all very, very much.
Muy buenas tardes. Es para mí un gran honor estar con todos ustedes el día de hoy en la conclusión de este importante foro del B20. Quiero también, de manera especial, felicitar a Alejandro Ramírez por su gran labor como presidente del B20. Muchas gracias. Agradezco también a Valentín Díez Morodo del COMSE por su apoyo, por su participación. Agradezco a Alberto Espinosa de Coparmex.
But above all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for honoring us with your presence. I truly hope you had an enriching experience. We wish you safe travels, and I hope to see many of you in Russia next year.